Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. And today I'm very excited to be interviewing Ozzin. Ozzin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for the welcome. So excited to have this talk with you today.
Me too. Can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yes, sure. So I'm a business mentor and coach, and I'm known as the brand monetization queen. I work with coaches, different business owners, and help them to monetize their social media without cold calling. So it's all about attraction marketing, that you get more clients, more time efficiency in your business while you have the time of your life. So if that's you, stick with me, follow me as well for more insights on this. And I'm excited to talk more about our topic today on courage.
Amazing, me too. And we met during COVID, didn't we? Ages
Yes,
online.
it
Do you remember? It must have been about over 4 years ago. Right. So I love this title, Leading by Courage Over Fear. Can you tell us what that means and why you chose it for today?
Yes. I mean, first of all, I think that courage is when you go after something because you have believe in it, you trust yourself on something. And oftentimes we have so many different options. People talk about confidence, about fear, and many people, because they don't have this confidence and they give more power to the fear, they don't go for certain things, which results in leading a disappointing life and full of regrets. So I found that even it's rather confidence over it's courage over confidence, because a lot of the times in my life, even starting my business, getting certain success, I didn't have honestly the confidence to do that, to speak on camera, to do lives like the one I'm doing right now. Like I would be terrified doing that. But because I gave in to the courage and I knew that's going to help me to get milestones and progress, that is what helped me to gain the confidence, to get the small wins, to get the momentum. That's what the title means. Like courage is just so life changing, and you can apply it to so many different contexts.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. No, that's, yeah, I'm just thinking about what you said. No, I think it's really important to have courage because, yeah, you can think about so many things, can't you? But if you don't have that courage, then you're never going to take that scary step. So, do you want to tell us a bit about your journey? Because I know you've had a really fascinating journey with courage and fear. I don't know if you want to tell us about
Yeah.
that first.
Yeah, sure. So for the background, I dropped out of university back in 2020. And before that, the short story was that I went, unfortunately, through a horrible time back in 2019 where I got raped and kidnapped. And
Wow.
this is because I went through a toxic relationship, and there's a long story to that. But this whole story, it obviously broke the self-trust in me, and I got hurt a lot. So I had a hard time to retrust people, retrust men. And
Yes.
this trauma and the things that affected me, I couldn't go to school for 1 month. I went missing, and when I came back, I was in so much physical pain, and I was living in fear because this person who did this to me ended up like a stalker. But all of these things, would help me to get out of this, whether it was the consequence suffering later from anxiety, panic attacks, skin problems, because again, stress, it will impact
Yes.
the physical health as well. And even the confidence, your self-worthiness, because you tolerated something in the past and you get more of what you tolerate. And I always believed I was a woman living in my self-worthiness, but some actions of not lacking the boundaries, maintaining the boundaries, or saying no before that, that's something that I didn't do. And even if you did it, again, sometimes it's often too late, because a stalker is a stalker and a rapist will still go for the things they want. So what I've learned out of that is really to lean into courage. And that's what allowed me to go from my pain, turning it into a purpose. And I started my entrepreneurship. After 1 year of university, I dropped out. I felt this calling. I want to spend more time in building my own movement. And that was all because of courage. When I flipped the selfie stick towards other women, and that is the first step why I actually shared my story publicly in Kensington
Wow.
Palace 2023 in January, because a few days before that, a woman texted me and said she wanted to commit suicide, and it was due to sexual abuse. And there were many women, as we just before talk, once you share your story, suddenly there are all other women or men saying, me
When
too.
you're the first one,
Yes.
it's amazing when you share your story, you have the courage to share it, you realize so many other people are going through the same thing or something similar.
Yes, and the moment I realized that this was the case, that every like third, fourth women went through sexual rape and all type of different type of abuse and things, like it made me speak up the story publicly, and I was scared of that because of public opinions, judgments, or that people think
Yeah.
about me. But at some point, I was like, no, the courage to bring this type of story to the right people, like words can change someone's destiny. So I want to do that for that woman who texted me 2 days ago, but also for all other women and men who went through this. So all of these things led me to having a stronger purpose in terms of women empowerment. And now I'm working on initiating different laws in Switzerland that help people on that. So yeah, that's really what.
No, amazing. Before you jump ahead, because there's so much there that you're saying. So what I'm hearing is you obviously went through a really difficult, challenging time. But in that time, you found courage. Like, how did you find that courage? Like, because we can all respond in different ways, can't we? Like, how did you even get, like, talk us through, like, you don't have, not everything, whatever you want. But I mean, what made you, was it about a choice? Was it about, like, how did you get to that point where, okay, I choose courage?
Yes. I think, like to talk about this is like after this whole pain and again to this kidnap and rape part, it was just a moment where I felt like my life was such a mess because I was like heartbroken. I was just in physical pain. I couldn't open my jaw. It was just like paralyzing, and I almost felt like dying. Like there was a point, first, like I knew that I was like stronger than suicide, but there are times in life you're so frustrated, so much in pain, and it's just insane. Like you just like don't want to do anything. And I was at that point. But what helped me again is I knew there were choices, and the choice was I could stay in my room and keep crying and being depressed and not go after what I want, because I was already back then a very ambitious, career-driven lady. Maybe I was not aware that entrepreneurship is that thing, but I knew there was a higher calling. And but after that, there was also this choice, like because of the insane pain I've been feeling back then, it also showed me of how many other people must have gone through the similar pain, like all women who go through the same thing. And because it was so unbearable, that was for me the reason to get back up. So because I couldn't bear it. So I was like, I have to get back up in order to help other people. So it was also for my dream, because I didn't want that type of trauma affect my life in a way that I couldn't pursue my dreams anymore. So I always say to people, like, you may not control what has happened for you or to you, but you're responsible for how you live the rest of your life. And that quote actually, like, it hit me very deep at that point. So I had a choice. And when I drained myself with too much crying, I just knew I'm going to be energy drained. So I'm not going to go for that one. Like, crying and expressing is so important. So I always accept the way I feel without judgment. But the other step is once I fully feel it, I can release it faster, therefore move on and turn it into something empowering. And yeah, and I think that courage, it came from a place of love. It came from a place of pain. But because there is so much pain, I could flip that pain at some point into a version of love, because I felt more empathy for other people and also for my own life and people, to not let other people down.
Wow. Sounds like, a lot of self-awareness, intuition, realizations. Sounds like it was a huge, realization moment for you as well. Okay. No, thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm sure that's inspiring. Just that is so inspiring, So then what happened? Tell us more.
Yeah, sure. So after I got back up and I turned this pain into the purpose, it actually brought me to mental health awareness and to women empowerment. confidence. And this is where in 2019 during COVID, where I met you, I started.
Yeah, that's when we met.
Yes, I started to build other Instagram accounts and communities around mental health, women power leaders, but that was not for entrepreneurship. It was just a passion thing. I wanted to share educational videos and quotes just to help people to feel better. But the community grew like exponentially, like faster, and people started to value that. And because of that movement I've started, funnily speaking, like today, it turned into a whole podcast show, like from the mental health podcast on the top 50 mental health shows. I interviewed, meanwhile, 150 entrepreneurs, people on my shows, and the women empowerment community that was just out of passion. It turned into a whole movement where we're now intending to change laws in Switzerland as well. And we're looking for peace. And that led me to my path of being apart from an entrepreneur. Mainly, I have this 10% that I do outside of my business, which is diplomacy and being a peace ambassador. And the motivation, it comes from my own story, because I do realize that this peace is really important. And when I say peace, it's pretty broad, but being more specific is changing the face of feminism, not just aggressively, it's for women, but again, women's health, certain rights, collaborating with men, supporting each other's, and understanding the nature of certain things. So there's a lot of improvement needed on that part. And that all of these things, it gave me also a push into entrepreneurship, to be honest, because again, I saw my mom growing up in a family where I see that they're trading their money for time, and I just knew there was a better way to do that. And in order for me to do peace work, I don't get paid for peace work. I don't get paid for changing laws here. So I need still a living. So I knew, okay, I need a business that I can pay my bills, but I also want more options in life. I want to help women, not just to heal from traumas. That's just one aspect. But I want that women also have an amazing life, a mind-blowing life that you love. And that's the part as a business mentor why I feel a lot of people join me. It's like for who you become in the process, whether you're man or woman, and that who is so precious. And I believe that you can have it all, like great health, great relationships. We heal from traumas, but like we also got to have the strategies and the financial wealth that we build.
We're going to hear much more about that in a minute. Let's just say hi to Magda. Hi, Magda. She says, thank you so much for sharing, Ozzin. Your story and incredible internal strength will surely help others. Thank you so much, Magda. Lovely to have you here. And hello to everybody else who's here. Please let us know if you have any questions or comments. We'd love to hear from you. No, thank you so much, Ozzin. No, it sounds extremely powerful what you're saying. And I love what you say about it's about who you're becoming. And the fact that you said you can have it all, because it's all about what we believe, isn't it? If we don't believe we can have it all, then we'll make sure we don't have it all. Or if we believe we can, we'll make sure we do. So tell us about that as well. The power of self-belief. That's very important.
No, I love that. And the reason why I say that is because this was one of my limiting beliefs in the past. And there are still times where it comes up, but I'm more conscious about it. For example, I used to tell, and I mean, it sounds in theory very nice to say, you deserve it all, I'm worthy of it all. But in the practice, it's always difficult. And as a survivor going from abuse, toxic relationships, and the kidnap, like what it did in me was having a lot of fear, doubts, and again, this mistrust. And as a lot of like high-driven, like high-performing entrepreneurs, I see a lot of women saying, I don't have time for relationships. And we tend to push it away because we're so caught up with our purpose. And I always said, men or my purpose? And I said, purpose. I don't care about the man, like purpose first. Money or men? I was like, money. Let's just give me the money. I'm going to be okay. But deep down, I know relationship is the key. But the funny thing is, as sometimes as a woman, it's like, yes, I am worthy, I want that. But there are still these little moments where we feel we're not worthy. Like, I have to sacrifice these relationships and this, I have to hustle to get this. I cannot have this man relationship. I have to do this and this. And especially in pain, I think our biggest pain is the need to protect ourselves from being hurt again. And I think this is the biggest pain we sometimes have and go through. So I've learned that healing is a messy journey. So being in a healthy relationship and transitioning is sometimes more difficult than being in a toxic relationship, because in the healthy one, you're not used to have this type of peace. And that's what's for me, because I had this dynamics up and downs. There was
Yes.
thrilling and it was
Unfamiliar.
always normal. And especially if you're bonded with men in different ways, that and you feel that this is true love, but you don't know what true love is until you experience that. And you don't know if you're really worthy of it all until, you know, you go through certain experiences. And that was for me the case. Like even money making, either, you know, back then when I was in debt 6 figures versus now when I make an average multiple 5 figure months and 6 figure months, the difference is of who I became. Like I understood the power, what I can offer. I was worthy of asking for that amount of money for what I could bring on the table, but also with tolerating men. Like this is my standard, this is what I want, this is what I embody, and this is what I want, and saying more no. And that is so hard. And I see women downgrading on that, saying, yeah, it's okay. Or like
People pleasing. People pleasing.
People
We
pleasing.
people please. Yeah.
And it's like in our DNA, especially women, we love to please people around. And it's our power, because we tend to like in like comparison to men, we're more emotionally wired. There's a lot of the elements where we're nurturing communities. When you help a woman, she will help the people around you. Like there's so many good things. But I also found the downside is when you keep doing that, it's like your cup is so full and you feel like you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, I realized there comes a bottom line when you have to redefine for yourself, what does it mean to have it all? And even relationship or health part and the business part, like what is enough for you, the enoughness, because we talk about even in money terms 6 7 figures, and people say make 100K, but not every woman wants to make that amount of money. It's always great, but not everyone thinks like this is the thing I need. And the same thing is like for other people who say, I don't want to have career, like I want to be mom, and that's amazing. And that's why I feel this success and health and even relationship has to be so much redefined, and to really be honest about yourself. If you believe what you say in theory, like you can have it all, like pay attention, like slow down there and really take notes. How are you currently spending your days in business? How are you feeling in relationships? Are you single? Do you give yourself that love? Are you embodying that? Are you after your purpose? And how is it in your current relationship with your romantic partner? And if you don't like it, change it.
Well, yeah, brilliant. That's what I was going to say to you, actually, because it sounds like you've been on an extraordinary journey with yourself. Like, so how did you have help with this? Like, did you have therapy, coaching, or have you done it all by yourself? Because I know, like with me, like I've had therapy, I've had coach, I've tried quite a lot of things, which has been really helpful. So I'm just wondering, how have you done all this? Because I know it is extremely difficult working on yourself. It's not easy, but of course it's worth it. Tell us about, that.
Well, after this whole thing that I've been through, 2019, rape, kidnap, after that, I got suggested from a lot of people, go to therapy, like you need mental help and so on.
Really?
And the thing is, I mean, I'm a girl. I never like when I've been told to do something, like you should. Like,
exactly. I did a post on that the other day.
And and I always believed in the power of like self healing. That was for me huge. And I feel sometimes very rebellious, which is also the reason why I succeed in many things. But it can also be a downside if I'm too stuck on stuff. But in the beginning, in all honesty, I tend to push away this idea of therapy, because all I wanted is just, you know, self healing. I got this, but I still had awareness on how I process it, at least for myself, in journaling, in piano playing, in other ways. But I have to admit, after this whole thing happened, now we're back in 2024, I really realized that at some point it comes back, especially when you're in a healthy relationship or you have a new partner. Everything that you didn't handle by the root cause, it just comes back. And I really have to say, it's like both things. One thing, I still believe in the power of self-healing, because that's the work that we decide to do. And in the nature and things, it's so strong. And you can literally heal yourself with the right thoughts and right actions.
People can't do that for us. We do have to heal ourselves at the end of the day.
Yes. And I think this is like the true like medicine. Like for me, I prayed a lot, I journaled a lot, like I did this type of inner work for myself.
Yes.
But in January of this year, I started actually with therapy, and
Oh,
it
really?
took me a while to do that because again, the incident was in 2019. So
You got
now,
ready.
like, it took me a few years to saying I accept the full acceptance
Yes.
therapy work, and then
Yes.
I went back in. And the other times I went back in into therapy because everyone back then 3 years ago, they told me you should do that, you should do that. So I went like only 1-2 times, and I was only crying in therapy, and I was like, my God, this is just so exhausting, like it's not for me.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah. It
also
wasn't the right time.
yeah, and I also realized it has to be the right therapist because you have a
Yes.
match with certain people. So it depends on how much you're decided to take that on and your open mind around that. But also when an event is too recent, you can get over emotional. But that's also the point of therapy. You bring it out. But I had to bring it out to a certain extent on my own, like in
Yeah,
my own
exactly.
feeling. And at some point, yeah, it came up, and now it's going so much better in January, going through the therapy, digging deeper on what is still left in me.
I think you said something really important there. It's really got to be our decision. Like no one can tell us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. We really have to do it in our own way. Like we're also different individuals. We really have to be brave enough. It comes back to courage again to just do it ourselves. And Karen says, "Hi, Karen. Lovely to see you, Karen. I worked with Karen. We delivered an amazing challenge together with Marissa Peer. So thank you for sharing, Ozzy. You are such an inspiring lady, and well done for moving on in your life and not sitting down to your past experiences. Thank you so much, Karen. So you're inspiring everybody, Ozzy, with your story.
Well, I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear. That's the point why I want to share my story, and I hope to hear other people's story as well. And I think there's something special around, supporting other women.
Yeah.
As women, we have this nature to help everyone, even men. We want to be kind, but a lot of women in my life, they have inspired me, like in so many ways. And I think it's such an art to be a woman. We just had this conversation before about health. As a woman, cannot run business in the same way like a man. And I see so many women doing that, which is a whole different topic. But it's like when this topic about courage, it's the courage also really to get to know yourself better, because understanding the nature of your body, that's called high performance. And also another high performance is your happiness, the fulfillment, and relationship just impacts us. It's not just the business side of things and financials, but it's like knowing this different type of containers in your life, different areas in your life, and having the courage to study yourself really well. I think that's the key thing, and it never stops. So I found in all the trainings I had so far in life, investing over 100,000 francs into different mentors, one of the valuable trainings I've ever had is the self-awareness training. It was just a training about my ego box, about how I think, what are the pain avoiders. With Jasmine, I had even a session on saboteurs.
Oh yeah, we did sessions.
The insane, and the more saboteurs on a high level you get, and on a spiritual level as well. We always have choices, the angel and the devil. But the thing is, the more you grow, the more high level a demon gets. The more you grow, the more the saboteurs get high level. So it's a never ending race. But I think this metacognition, knowing and understanding how you feel your things, how you take decisions, it's so key in healing, and it's so key in leading with courage, because you go that deep and you slow down on certain things to reflect.
Wow, no, exactly. No, thank you so much for sharing all of that, Ozzin. So how do you, because I know you work a lot with entrepreneurs, don't you? And you, like, what do you tell us a bit more about, like, your work with entrepreneurs, and how do you help them become more courageous as well? Is that something that you really focus on?
Yes, definitely. So courage is the core of the whole work, because when you're courageous, you will do the things that I teach. Because without courage, it's hard, because a lot of the things, what I call the basics, when people say, I want to learn certain strategies, I want to make more money, they want more time with their families, I want better relationships, better client boundaries, more freedom, guess what? First courage, because you have to set different standards for that. So again, this is the core of work. And when I started like 3 years ago, I started working with coaches, consultants mainly. And then I shifted in general, helping different business owners who have a service. So if you're someone, either a coach, a consultant, or you have a different service you offer, even as an agency, this is where I can help you to have maximize your profits, but also to make your business efficient. Instead of hustling 8 hours, I can help you to build a scalable business model and scalable offers. And this is really where I help people to stretch your capacity, but also know it's not always about stretching your capacity. Sometimes it's the opposite. You take back on the capacity, but there's a way in how you can do more money while you maintain the things.
Yeah.
And that's where I help business owners on their journey.
And you work with, I know you work with groups, one-to-one.
Yes, so I have group formats where people can join the collective. It's a whole framework and library where you have access to all the basic teachings. So you pay one fee and you get in for 1 year. You have the full access on all teachings, lifetime access to all the teachings there, and every live program that is just for 1 year, whatever I run, usually once per month, new programs. And then there are also one-on-one coachings that I do, private coaching, more close proximity. You can also DM me for that and I can give you more details depending on your goals and your needs on that. And yes, on this type of parts, I really help people, coaches going from scratch to their first 10, 20 grand. And then with more advanced people and people even like recently another client of mine, Hollywood film directors and other influencers who have a service, we help them to monetize and help them to get to 6-7 figures. And the context of what we did is really nailing, tweaking the messaging. This is where I'm really good at. And I'm good at helping to create scalable products, scalable offers that support the lifestyle that you want. Because scaling is not just about scaling in money, but scaling truly is when you're happy, when you're fulfilled, and your energy supports the type of things while you're scaling the money. So if that's you, I can definitely share more information with you to give you the different options.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ozzin. Is there anything else you want to tell us before we go about courage and being successful?
Well, the last thing is my quote. I had a quote where I started my entrepreneurship. It's called "Jump in at the deep end," and it still applies for me. And it always connects back to courage. I think there are so many moments in my life where I felt I needed all the ducks in a row. Like I need this and this condition and this condition, and then I will start. But courage is really like to smash the ducks away, and you just take the first duck and you say, you know what? Like we just start there. My podcast, whatever it is, it may not be perfect and you have this perfectionism, but when you have courage, you just take the first step. And my show, my mental health show, wouldn't be the top mental 50 shows out there with great entrepreneurs, Hollywood A-list celebrities coming on. That was only because I didn't, I just smashed the ducks away. I just started. And over the time, over a few months, it grew to that level. And when people look at my podcast, they think, wow, it's so professional. How did she do that? And it was because I started low-key unprofessional. It was not as great as it is today.
Exactly. You have to. Yeah. You can't start at the top. No, but I love that. Jump in at the deep end. It's so true, isn't it? You cannot, if you wait until you're ready, then, well, you never do anything. You never do anything.
Yes.
No, but thank you so much, Ozzin. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you again. I love talking with you always. Can you tell us how people can find you?
Yes, sure. So you can connect with me here on LinkedIn or on Instagram under Ozzin Jun. And I also have my own podcast show on YouTube. It's all the same name, Ozzin Jun, and you will see right away that the podcast ranks up. It's called The Inspiration Science by Ozzin Jun. And if you have an incredible story, you're an entrepreneur, you went through mental health issues and you navigated through these times and you have valuable lessons, please come on my show. Just connect with me and I'll be happy to interview also on my show. And if you're interested in any coaching services to help you maximizing your profits and in the way you run it to scale, then you can also text me and I'll be happy to share you the different options to work with me.
Amazing. And Ozzin, can you put all your links on the post so people can just click?
Yeah, sure. I will put all the links.
LinkedIn. Yeah, here it doesn't come up, but on the LinkedIn post. That's amazing. And if anybody has any questions for Ozzin, you can message her directly or on the post, myself too. And thank you so much for your comments. And I will see everybody next week. Thank you so much, Ozzin.
Thank you so much.